Alright, so let's break down the list of midfielders selected to represent the Super Falcons at the upcoming Women's Afcon in Morocco. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. First, we're going to start with Ngozi Okobi, the Eskilstuna midfielder. Eskilstuna in Sweden was not on the original list, only introduced to the team after Desire Paranoze dropped out. She's been part of the Super Falcons setup for a while now, but her influence in the team has dwindled in the recent past. She's gone through injuries, lack of form, and things like that. But lately, she's been in a good run of form, scoring goals and creating assists for her club. And although she did not make the original list, her performances were good enough to keep her in the coach's mind, and he brought her on once a player needed to be replaced. Next up is Peace Efih, an attacking midfielder who plays for Kiryat Gat in Israel. She played at the youth level for Nigeria, actually played the Under-20 World Cup with Rasheedat Ajibade and Chiamaka Nnadozie. She has had some caps for the Super Falcons, but I don't think she is taken to the senior team as well as those two players I just mentioned. I mean, she's had a good amount of appearances herself, but I just don't think the coach has found her right position. In my opinion, she's somewhat like Okobi. You will want to play her closer to the striker. You want her closer to the goal. She creates chances. She scores goals herself. So that might be where the team gets the most bang for the buck from her. Next up is Toni Payne, attacking midfielder who plays for Sevilla in the Spanish top flight. Elder sister of Nicole Payne, the fullback we talked about in the goalkeeper and defender video, and just like her little sister, she was born in the US and played for their national team program, played at all youth levels with the team, and actually won the 2012 CONCACAF Under-17 tournament. Made her debut last year at the Turkish Women's Cup, and ever since then the only match I can really remember her missing was the Women's Afcon qualifier against Ivory Coast away. But apart from that, she's been really a mainstay in the team, and she has different purposes. She can play as a midfielder, she can play on the wings. She's played as a fullback lately against Canada, so she's a player that can be really used anywhere by the coach. Next up is Halimatu Ayinde, midfielder for Eskilstuna United in Sweden. Same team as Ngozi Okobi, recently returned from a long-term injury, but prior to that was a mainstay for the Super Falcons, a big player in the side, can play as a defensive midfielder or can play box to box. But the funny thing is, she is really somebody who's an attacking midfielder that was converted to these positions. Prior to her injury, it would be a no-brainer that she would start in all the matches for the Super Falcons. But right now, not too sure about that. I mean, it's one thing to come back healthy, but then you gotta regain your match fitness, your form, your confidence. I mean, Ayinde does fit the mold of the type of player who can come back from an injury and put up a stellar performance immediately, but at the same time, that's just not the norm. Next up is Christy Ucheibe, Benfica midfielder, also was part of that Under-20 World Cup team with Rasheedat Ajibade and Chiamaka Nnadozie in 2018. She played in the UEFA Women's Champions League this season with Benfica, had some good performances in the competition. She also made a debut for the Super Falcons against Ivory Coast in the Women's Afcon qualification, played in both friendly matches against Canada. Christy can play as a box-to-box midfielder or a defensive midfielder, does the dirty work for the team, imposes a physical dominance in the midfield, quick to try to win a ball back for the team, and also underrated in the offensive ability. Next up, Regina Otu, midfielder for Minsk FC in Belarus, former Rivers United and Edo Queens player, made her debut for the Super Falcons in 2019, and ever since then she's been somewhat of a regular, played in the qualification matches and the friendlies in between. She started a good number of those matches, but it's really up in the air who the coach is going to go for when the competition starts. You got Halimatu Ayinde, Christy Ucheibe, and Rita Chikwelu playing in those two positions in the midfield, so who knows who the coach is going to select. Next up, Rasheedat Ajibade, player for Atletico Madrid in Spain. She actually plays at the forward position for a club. She was the top scorer for a club in the league this season, but for the Super Falcons, she plays in the midfield and does that pretty well. She has played for Nigeria at all youth levels and also played at the last women's Afcon for the Super Falcons. She scored in that competition. I believe that was against Zambia. I believe she has taken some great strides since that competition. She has come to be a player that the team depends upon. I mean, we always knew that she was a talented player, but right now it seems like she has that confidence, like she knows she's one of the best players on the pitch whenever she steps on it, and that's great to see. Next up and last but not least, Rita Chikwelu, Madrid CFF in Spain. She's been part of the Super Falcons setup for some years now, and even before then played at the under 20 level, was part of the Super Falcons last 2 Afcon winning squads, and also went to the last World Cup in France with the Super Falcons. She hasn't missed much action in between the World Cup and now. If I'm not mistaken, she played in all qualification matches for this Afcon. Not sure if that means she will be in the 11 when the Afcon starts, but she's definitely a good option to have. Well, those are the midfielders selected to represent the Super Falcons in the upcoming women's Afcon in Morocco. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.